everybody, and welcome to another review. This is kind of an old review. It's going to be a series of sort of backlog ones of books that I read and I really loved, and I realized I'd never reviewed, so that's bad. All within the past month, and this is mainly because from June 2nd to June 9th, I am going to be out of the country. I'm going to be in Toronto, so I will not be doing videos, and I'm probably not even going to be on the internet all that much because I'm going to be very, very busy seeing my grandparents, doing all sorts of other things. But you all don't care about my travel plans, you care about the book I'm going to review. And that book is The Diviners by Libba Bray. This is an ARC copy that I actually traded. I believe it was for my hardback of Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge, which I didn't want anymore. But it's also a signed ARC. I was familiar with Libba Bray when I got this for her Gemma Doyle trilogy, and I'd heard really good things about this, besides the fact that I think this cover is absolutely beautiful and the redesigns on the paperback are hideous. I mean, seriously, can we just get up in arms over how ugly that new paperback looks? Just and unfortunately Layer of Dreams is following that. I'm not real pleased, but whatever. This is set in 1920s New York City, and it follows a young girl by the name of Evie O'Neill, and she has a secret power. She's what is known as a diviner. If she touches an object from a person, she can sort of know their secrets. She admits, however, that she's never really played with this ability, and she's never really told anyone, except for when she's drunk. And so it doesn't always work, and she can't really control it real well. Well, after using her power and embarrassing / accusing the son of basically the wealthiest guy in town of knocking up the help, Evie finds herself sort of shipped out of her little home in Ohio out to New York City to stay with her uncle, who owns the Museum of, what's it called? The Museum of American Folklore, Superstition, and the Occult. Everybody just calls it the Museum of the Creepy Crawlies, and I almost just called it that. This is the Jazz Age, this is Prohibition, this is the Flappers, and the Speakeasies, and Ziegfeld's Follies. It's awesome. This is totally a time period I love when done right. And if Libba Bray has proven anything to me from her work with the Gemma Doyle trilogy, and now with this, she's really good at writing period. The best part of this book for me was the use of all the slang terms. All this 1920s slang, which I learned just from my own research, is utilized and just thrown out there, and it works so beautifully. And there's music and songs in here too. Totally awesome. I really love the songs, particularly because I listened to the audiobook while I was reading it. I was sort of trading, and this reader would sing all the songs, and she was really, really good too. I really liked it. It was so creepy at times too. The reason this is so creepy is that this is also an occult paranormal murder mystery. There's a guy going around butchering women, and in these horribly gruesome fashions that remind me of Red Dragon by Thomas Harris. That's the first book kind of in like the Hannibal Lecter stories. Oh goodness, the murder scenes were so disturbing. There was so much creepy going on in this book. It really was old school horror, like really trying to creep you out horror, not just gross and not just like, ooh, jump scares. If you noticed, I'm not a real fan of horror. Evie ends up getting thrown into this murder case because her uncle Will gets called to the scene to help the investigators because they sense something kind of occult, and as he is the kind of expert on that topic, of course he gets called in, and Evie tags along. The following murder mystery that unravels is absolutely insane, balances a lot of characters, some of whom almost never interact, maybe except once, and yet they're all intertwined. So well done, so creepy. At the end of it, I was like, oh my goodness, this is insane. It also left off on enough of an ending that the murder mystery was closed and the primary plot of the novel was shut, but it left some questions and some things open for the sequel, Layer of Dreams, which will be coming out. So I'm going, okay, that's good, because I kind of want those questions answered. In terms of characters, Evie as a lead is very real, because she has so many flaws, and she gets called out on them too, which I love. It's not just sort of like she has these flaws which are obvious flaws and nobody ever addresses them. No, she's shallow and a little stupid at times and isn't the best at what she needs to do all the time, but she gets called out on it, and I really appreciated that. I appreciated having a character who was not perfect. She's not really a badass, she's not that bright at times. She just kind of wants to have a good time party, and she wants to be famous. It felt very much like a 20s flapper girl. There are a whole bunch of side characters in here too. You have a young African-American named Memphis who's going around dealing with his brother seeming to have some kind of power and him having to have some kind of power. He's being followed by a crow, which was admittedly really kind of odd, the whole story, and I'm still sort of trying to figure that one out. You have Jericho, who works in the shop with Evie's Uncle Will, and he's hiding a very deep dark secret that Evie doesn't understand or know. And then you also have the pickpocket Sam, whom is the first person she meets in New York and whom I really liked because damn is he a cocky son of a bitch. But in the best way, because he's so likable and he just, I don't know, he reminds me of like Han Solo. That's probably why I like him. He reminds me so much of like a Han Solo, but with a slightly darker backstory and stuff going on with him. And he's got his own secrets, which I'm really hoping get revealed in the second book. No spoilers, but it has something to do with Buffalo, and I hope they're talking about the city, because if they are, I'm going to be so excited. I lived in the suburbs of Buffalo for a very long time, and so whenever it goes back to the home city, I'm like, yeah, I know where you're talking about. I know a lot of people have already read this, or they've at least gotten it and hauled it and haven't read it yet, and I'm here to tell you of what I have read of Libba Bray. This is my favorite thing so far. This was amazing. I've now read it twice. It's been less than a month, pretty sure. So good, and I recommended it to like half my people at work, and I was like, guys, this book, you need this book. So that's gonna be it for me. I give this a really high recommendation. Just read it. Just go get it and read it. Don't even borrow it, just get it and read it. But that's all from me today, guys, and so until next time, cheers.